Property Mentors is proudly sponsored by Roma Finance and Aria Finance.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Wallwork.
And I'm Martin Roberts.
And we are the Property Mentors.
Well, today we have come to Luton in Bedfordshire, which we hope is going to reveal some very interesting property development opportunities.
Absolutely, we're meeting a lovely person called Therese from Norway. She's a fairly young developer, just starting out, but hopefully we're going to see an exciting site from her.
Now, she has lined up something which she's been working on for quite a while. It sounds to me like it's had a bit of a turbulent sort of time of late.
So we've had to scrap 64 flats. That was actually social housing.
So we'll hear that story. She's also got some very interesting construction techniques which she's involved with. But I think when we've heard her story, hopefully the thing that we've got lined up will tempt her, not necessarily away from what she's doing, but just make her aware that there are other opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a look at those other options, have a think slightly bigger picture and consider things she might not have thought of already. And that's ultimately what mentoring is about. It's about finding what that person's passionate about and then trying to help their business grow.
Let's go meet her.
Let's go and do it. Exciting. All the way down.
I'm very excited to meet Nick and Martin today as a budding real estate entrepreneur. I live in London, but I am originally from Scandinavia, Norway, and I've always been passionate about real estate. So I'm very excited today about what Nick and Martin can show me and teach me.
Hello.
Hi.
What do you think of the vehicle?
Say,
I'm Nicholas.
I love it.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
This is
to meet
Martin.
you.
Nice to meet you too.
So we know a little bit about what you're planning, but tell us more.
I have been looking for land for a very, very long time, all over England, and I've been speaking to many councils. And my initial scheme and idea was, as a social entrepreneur, developing good social housing for a community in need. Been up and down the country looking for land, speaking to different councils, visiting modular factories.
Modular factory.
Modular factories, all over England actually. I found this beautiful piece of land, I believe. Initially, we wanted to put in 64 flats that were going to be rented to the council.
Okay.
Like social flats, seeing the need for housing in Luton and especially emergency housing. All the homes are built off-site, which shortens the construction time on site. It minimizes the pollution for the other residents. We were going to have 3-story modular flats. They would arrive with cranes and build 3 flats on top of each other, and the project will take 3 weeks.
Okay.
So this was really a social venture.
Okay.
So our initial approach was approved with flying colors and then rejected, fully rejected as a proposal. Yes.
So when you say it was approved initially, was that a pre-application approval?
Exactly.
Yeah, the things they say, we can't ever, we give you an indication, but it means nothing basically, don't they?
Yes, yes, it was very
that's what
much like
happened
that.
to you.
Yes, it was a bit of a shock, and so we've had to scrap 64 flats. That was actually social housing, and it's shocking actually that this was rejected.
Yeah,
I think
the council would be fully on board with that kind of scheme.
Yes,
Especially if it's for their use, essentially.
So just to be clear, this is the plot of land behind us, the thing with the tin roofs.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And then you put in full planning application?
Not yet.
Not you didn't.
We
So so you say something has been rejected?
Yeah, so the 64 flats with a retail unit was approved, rejected.
So but you haven't put in a planning application on it?
No. That's why we put in the pre-app, was to avoid being rejected, obviously, because the cost of...
it and then who rejected it?
Luton Council recommended it. When I say approved, that is probably not correct, but recommended it.
So have you got a planning application expert looking and helping you on this?
My architect.
Okay.
And I've also had a planning expert.
So was it down to the people you were dealing with in the council? Did they have a change of officer and something like that that caused the initial problem, or?
Yes, the change of officer. I am just following the advice that we have from the new officer to a T. I am fully complying with what the officer is recommending, which is 3 to 4 bedroom homes, 100 square meters, that will, you know, look lovely in the area.
It's very sad in lots of ways, though, isn't it? That there you were starting out with this goal, a UK-wide goal of creating social needed housing.
Yes.
And you've been thwarted in those plans.
Yes, that's correct. And
How do you feel about that? Because that was your starting point, main reason for doing this.
well, on top of that, I had
more.
yeah, there's a little bit more.
plot thickens.
The plot thickens. As it well, it does. I was initially offered 10-year contract from Luton. They were going to rent all the homes for their social clients.
Right.
Great exit. I mean, to have that exit
Yeah, yeah.
secured before you build it, that's every developer's dream, isn't it?
And then that disappeared.
Well, exactly, and that was part of the financing as well, which made you
So
know
the
all our
financing then drops
lives
out.
much easier.
One of our jobs as mentors is to sort of take a bit of a step back and help you take a bit of a step back.
Yeah.
Why is there still an emotional attachment to this site? Is it going to make you money, but does it fulfill your greater ulterior motives?
Well, there's a combination. Bread and butter is a must for all. But no, really, the motivation lies in seeing an area that I think can be greatly uplifted, helping a council that is has a huge problem with homing people or rehousing people.
And looking at the positives of your situation, if I may, what it seems to me is that the council are engaging with you on this pre-app now. Although they've changed their stance from flats to houses, you've still got an open dialogue with that officer, and they're working with you to come to almost a pre-app approval status again. Now that is quite unheard of. I usually get, I don't know if it's the same with you, Martin, but they'll often get you to a point and say, no, you have to submit another pre-app to continue this conversation. So that's a positive. Let's focus on the positives. So it's about progressing that conversation to conclusion as quickly as possible now.
Have you bought this site?
No, it's optioned.
It's optioned.
It's
so
optioned.
There's an option to walk away.
Yes, for both parties.
Right.
How have you managed to keep the vendor on for so long? Are they minded in the same way? Or?
He wants a lot of money.
Okay.
Can I say that?
Yeah,
Of course you can.
Well,
How much
it's
is it?
1.5.
1.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay, without any planning, just a site. And have you got an option pending planning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously it's silly to say, but you've kept your options open and you're not tied into it. Should we go and have a look at the site and so we can get a better idea of what's on offer here, and then we'll take you to see if we can, you know, offer alternatives.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just don't pull the handle too hard; it might fall off.
So this is it, right?
This is it.
Okay, so to explain, it stretches where? We've obviously got this garage on the front, and then it stretches what, all the way back?
All the way back to the, there is a natural forest all the way in the back. There is a large development on your left-hand side, and there is a care home on your right.
So the idea is it would be a perfectly natural residential spot. Because you've got residential on one side, residential on the other.
But it's a row of terraces, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what a great infill.
Very busy road. I mean, okay, we're at sort of, you know, maybe a busy time, I don't know, but I get the impression it's actually going to be quite busy most of the time.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a major issue, but you might have highways issues, do you think? More traffic out against that?
Have you done a highways report yet at all?
No, we haven't.
Okay, I haven't spoken to the highways.
Definitely something too early.
My only concern, standing here just as we have been doing, so many cars pouring out of that side junction.
Yeah.
And on this road, you know, it depends on the density you're talking about. But, you know, if you're saying that they've in principle 13, they might not have consulted highways.
No, I mean, they wouldn't have consulted highways to the depth you'd need for the full planning app.
Yeah.
So the trouble is when you go from pre-app isn't an approval. It's an indication of what they might accept, subject to highways,
All these
contamination,
other things,
all the above, acoustics, all that sort of stuff.
Quite interesting to see the size of it here, though. How many acres is it, or what portion of an acre? Do you know?
0.55.
0.55 of an acre.
And
It looks bigger than that. I mean, it's a really long site and reasonably wide,
And
which is promising.
parking on site,
Right, okay.
which is, from what we've been told, that's the good news, because
Right,
we
yeah.
will not be obviously
Because this would all be on-street parking, wouldn't it, for all the other houses?
exactly.
So, okay.
All the houses will
Yeah.
have their own.
You're not adding to the parking problem.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good, really positive.
Just one thing to point out, it's a garage, therefore you are potentially going to have contamination.
Yeah, oil.
There is contamination.
There is contamination. You know that already.
Okay, right, fine.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah, on the garage side, you will need to remove some soil.
Okay,
Soil.
About half a meter.
Half a metre of soil, but you're taking that into consideration.
Yes.
And to be honest,
And that's in your costings, is it?
Yes, in my quantity survey.
Okay, fine.
if you look at the site, actually, it sort of slopes up here and it's very uneven. So you're going to have to level that site anyway.
No.
So I don't see that as really being an hugely extra cost. There's some break-up value on the tarmac you're going to have to get rid of. So
Outline plan. Have you created an outline plan?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And you've had to pay for that?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So how much have you got invested in this project so far? Because I know you've got it on an option,
Yeah.
which means that it's an option, depending on planning?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. So how much have you had to invest in the pre-planning and what have you done so far?
I think I'm looking at about roughly 20 to 30.
Okay.
okay, sounds about right to get to this stage.
Get it to that stage. And you're happy with what sort of what the proposals are-ish?
Yeah, I think all in all, it's a learning experience,
Yeah.
right? First and foremost. Now that's expensive, isn't it?
It's expensive learning sometimes. I mean,
I saw your face there, and you were like, "Oh."
well, being a property developer is all about overcoming the next problem. I mean, that's what a development site is.
Well, listen, thank you for showing us this. I think we've got a really clear indication of the site now, as well as your own sort of aspirations and things that motivate you. So we've been researching an alternative, not too far away from here, right in the centre of Luton. And I think now would be a good time to show it to you.
Okay.
To maybe just open your eyes.
Tempt you away, possibly, from
Not
this one.
necessarily,
Or
just to show
yeah.
some alternatives.
Absolutely.
You ready for that?
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Back in the van.
Back in the bus.
Property Mentors is proudly sponsored by Roma Finance and Aria Finance.
we go.
The big moment. Take a look.
Ta-da!
Wow, this
Look at
is
this beauty.
this is new.
Yes.
Or
it's
not new,
interesting.
actually.
Well, no.
It's got a little bit of work needed. Not gonna lie.
But it's really interesting. So let's get some basics started. Here we are,
Yeah.
centre of Luton. So you could not be more central. The old mall, I think, is below us. And-
We're on the old.
yeah, exactly. And the new mall is just literally there. So this is Luton Centre. And this is a really interesting building. In some ways, it's quite grand from the outside.
It is really grand. It's
Quite
Art
like
Deco.
it is Art Deco.
I love that stuff.
And
Yeah.
we are on the second floor, and it's the second floor and the third floor.
Listed?
No,
Not listed.
Not listed.
No.
So it's basically the uppers. We don't get the ground floor commercial with it.
Right. Okay.
but you've got this floor, a floor above, which will take you in a minute, and then
Yeah.
some outside space.
Leasehold? Freehold?
Leasehold, but 999 years, so effectively freehold.
Yeah.
And this comes under permitted development. So it was offices, so you've got a right to convert
Yeah.
it. And this and the upper floor have currently got permitted development for 3 flats. Now, we've been talking about it, and we think you
Yeah.
could get more, because this seems like a lot of
This
space.
would probably
for
be
just-
one flat.
or
possibly.
2. I mean, but
One or
I think
two,
you need. I
actually.
think you could go for more.
Squeeze another one in. for sure.
Yeah.
Because the current GDV, the gross development value, is we think a little bit on the lean side. So I think if you get more flats in here, you would do really well. So you got this. Obviously, it's previously an old ministry or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Obviously, shame it's that they've moved on somewhere else. But you've got to look at the space, obviously.
And it's also a low risky site. I think that's important to mention with these permitted development rights. It's done under Class MA, which is one of the current permitted development rights out there. They've evolved over the last couple of years, so it's important to stay on top of those changes. But we're getting something much more easily through planning for these 3 units.
Effectively, it has planning.
Has planning.
So that has been sorted out for you. The planning here for the permitted development, and then what we're going to show you outside in a second, the creation of 10 flats, new build flats.
10 flats?
Yes, in addition to this. And that's the exciting bit.
Well, that's amazing.
But it is, and we've got some CGIs, some computer generated images, which we'll show you when we get outside. The location does throw up a few issues in terms of construction, because you've got High Street there, so
waste, scaffold,
all that kind of stuff.
Access, deliveries.
And the back similarly. But I think you get a better idea outside.
Yeah, it's doable.
Yeah.
Well, actually, modular construction can be done.
Well, your
on
expertise
this
there
build.
at the rear, you may see
Very
something
interesting
that's
idea.
So this will save time and money, possibly.
With that said, should we go and look outside? This is where it starts to get very interesting. So, welcome to the outside space, okay? When I first saw these plans, I sort of like took a double take and went, they're doing it. What is going to happen here? It's amazing, because just right behind us, there's this slate roof, okay? And that is part of this building, in effect, isn't it? You own the rights to the, if you like, the airspace above that. So,
and this where we stood.
Yes, and this where
commercial is below us as we speak. So,
so somebody has come up with what I think is a pretty extraordinary scheme, and we've got some visuals of it.
Visuals here, which are hugely helpful in this. Some nice CGIs. So we're stood about here at the back of the existing building. Essentially, what you see behind us is going to go up a whole floor and have windows knocked in, and then a beautiful green courtyard garden where we're stood. And it's going to look quite a bit different to it does now. Have a look here. So this is the front of them.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like
So these are mini houses,
little mini
essentially.
houses. Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of your modular build, this could well work depending on the existing structure.
This is amazing.
And I assume they're quite lightweight, the modular stuff.
They are, yes, absolutely.
So
they come in with cranes.
Development, that's going to be huge, because
You could bring a crane, probably get into the high street,
probably
block
could.
it off,
couple of
deliver it
hours.
at night, deliver it during
out of hours,
midnight to 8 a.m, and then drop the actual units right over the top of this building.
And with modular, one of the key things is the weight, because on the roof here, massive consideration is the structural costs. Are we going to have to put steels on top of this roof, a steel lattice probably, to support this structure? But depending on the weight of that, those will be more minimal. If it was traditional built, those could be huge, and you'd end up dealing with different height issues and therefore maybe planning issues. So this could be perfect for her style.
Another issue, parking.
Well, it's a parking scheme, essentially. It's got planning, so there won't be any. We're a town centre location. Often, depending on the attitude of the councils in the UK, they either want parking or they don't. We're in the centre of it's a city, so there is no parking, and people can walk out and they're in the shops and the places that they're going to work in. So parking the scheme is absolutely acceptable here.
No, it's very interesting, and these are family houses, essentially.
Yeah, and the good news is it's got planning permission already approved. So there's no question about this. You could do it. And you can start as soon as you make the right conversations with building regulations and whatever, put in the various bits of
structural
for closing off whatever you needed to. We've still got to show you one thing, which is the upstairs, because there's still another floor. And maybe I'll run through the numbers upstairs just to give you an idea. So the only thing I noticed here, or you can see quite clearly, is all this previous air conditioning or extraction stuff. So there is a bit of industrial clearing. You never know if that contains asbestos, which might be the case. So you will need to have some kind of an environmental survey just to check, or whatever you call it, when you're checking out to see if it's got asbestos. You definitely did an asbestos survey.
Well, I think it's a good point to mention that, Martin. Leading on from that, one of the mistakes a lot of developers make, they see something's got planning, they think the numbers work, but before you buy it, you've got to get your quantity surveyor, your building control, your project managers in to go and quote all these consultants' fees. Because if you make a mistake on the costs, it could be the steels, it could be the asbestos, it could be the way of building it. If that goes through the roof and you've made a mistake, you're making no money or you're making a loss. So,
but who'd have thought? Out through a fire door, onto a rooftop, and straight into an incredible opportunity. Look.
As if by magic. An old office.
So, this is the final piece of that proverbial jigsaw. Top floor of the building,
Yeah.
more office space, and permitted development again for conversion to flats. Now, again, I just think they haven't maximised the amount of flats you could get in this whole area. But it's a good point now that we've seen primarily what's on offer to just go through the numbers. So it is, ready for this, £800,000. Ta-da!
Well, that is half of the price of my site.
Yeah,
And
you
it's
go.
in the town centre.
it is.
Right slap bang in the middle of the
Yeah.
town centre.
That is
So-
actually
And coincidentally, it's 13 apartments, buildings
Yeah.
here, and yours was 13 as well, wasn't
So
it?
we've got 10 new builds, right? And 3
In the
office
existing building.
conversions, right?
Yeah.
To office conversion to resi. Okay, so 13 in total. In total square footage, by the time it's built out, it's about 8,000 square foot. Okay, so we're trying to work out some ballpark development costings. Now, this is very ballpark probably here, but maybe you could factor in your modular construction.
Yeah.
well, yes,
But
absolutely.
I think if we
This
said,
is traditional numbers that we're sort of working
but
out
if we
now,
said,
really.
what do you think, £150 a square foot?
I think for the conversion side it's 150.
Okay, so that
Um,
puts the development costs at 1.2 million, right?
You probably add on maybe 100 grand or so for the back half.
Yeah,
But
well-
there's a lot of existing building there already though, so
Maybe,
lightweight structure shouldn't be
you
too
know,
much
you should
more.
always put in a contingency 10, if you've been very conservative, 20%. But let's just take that as a ballpark figure.
Yeah.
So in total, to buy it and redevelop it, it's 2 million quid.
And the GDV?
GDV, as a ballpark, again, about 3 million quid.
Now, don't forget, before you get too
Yeah.
excited with the 7-figure return, there is about 60 grand on a Section 106 agreement for
Which
the
is
new
what
build
you
element.
have to give the council to
Right.
appease the whole
Yeah.
social housing thing.
Indeed. And then there's also some finance costs because we're going to use your money for the deposit, but you're going to have some development finance to finance the build. So there'll be, it could be 200,000-300,000 there, depending on the level of finance. We know you've got reasonable amount of capital to work with, so we can help minimise that. But comfortably, 700 grand profit there.
I think the location is speaks for itself. I mean, I could approach Luton Council to make this a full-scale social housing. Actually,
I believe that would be a
Yeah.
great use of the size.
yeah, I think
being
it's the right
city
thing.
It lends itself
Really
so
does.
well to that.
yeah.
Does.
No, I absolutely agree, and I think, well, the fact that it is in the centre.
Well, one of the things about the centre is that Luton are piling millions of pounds into the regeneration of this area at the moment. There's a brand new stadium going in just down the road for the football club. Huge regeneration in that area, and that's pretty much walking distance from this site.
From the surface of it,
Yes.
if there are no hidden,
Well, there's lots of due diligence to do.
obviously,
Still.
yeah.
Let's say we allowed even a 20%,
Contingency.
so another 300k on top of that,
Yeah.
which is a massive contingency. That takes you to 1.5. You've still got 700k profit there. I mean, I think comfortably, okay, you've got to
Minus
take off
finance
the minus
and
finance.
stuff.
And all
Yeah,
that. To make less than 400 grand,
You'd be having to go pretty badly wrong,
300
wouldn't you?
grand.
Profit
No,
level.
this is an awesome find. This is actually really exciting,
Yeah.
and
Food
it's
for thought.
yeah,
And it's an iconic
dessert, food and dessert.
food and all in one.
So there you go. So that's it. Should we go back to the van and just have a roundup of what we've seen today, what you think, and and maybe some conclusions?
I have so much food for thought. I love the new site actually.
Okay.
And I think the first thing I'm going to do is to explore the modular housing possibilities to see if I can get that on top of the building and see if that makes sense.
What about fulfilling that need to do this social side of things?
You know, the venture has now become purely commercial and as such less interesting for sure. No, and I do think I should probably explore going back to doing it from a purely, well, a social venture perspective.
Yeah, well, not purely from that perspective, but having that in mind as the driver, you know, as a business, as an entrepreneur, as developers, you know, you've got to have a goal for the culture of your business, for the quality of product you're going to give and who your customer is. And if you can deliver fairly priced housing, still make some money and help people along the way, that is surely the best place to be.
But also I'm mindful of the fact that if we're just saying 13 houses on the other place or 13 properties here, then you can look at it in a much more black and white commercial way, and you suddenly there's no emotion on that other one. You just got to look at the numbers. And if this makes more money and also has the potential for social, then perhaps this ticks a few more boxes.
Our job as property mentors is to help you on your whole business. And I think what we've actually managed to do today, if we look at the two sites side by side, you've got your option on the other site, and that's going to take many months to build out the planning, 6, 9, 12 months. This has got planning now, it's available now. You could potentially slot this one in, get it done and built, and have that as your second site. So actually, looking at the bigger picture of the whole business, you potentially could do both if you still wanted to.
You don't have to lose that other one because you've got an option on it.
You've got an option on it,
So
work
you
the
could
planning
take
in
the
the
profit
background.
from this and da-di-da.
Turn it to the next site.
I think actually, this could be the first site. No, indeed, it is, and that will probably also give a good clue to how the modular structure would really work.
Very good point.
Get hands-on with it now. Show them the site. This is ready to build. Can you build it modular? If this works, you could be one of the pioneers of this in the UK, and I'm sure there's people that are doing it already. You won't be the first, but it's a huge area of opportunity for your business.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
There you go. Well, I hope we've helped.
You absolutely did. This has been an amazing day, and no, thank you so much.
It's a
It's
pleasure.
been a lot of fun.
Good luck with it all.
Thank you.
Lovely working with you. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Well, I think there's a really important concept that we've encountered today talking to Therese, and that is sometimes you get so involved in a project that when things change, you forget why you started the project. And in this case, she was all about social housing, and then that got changed, and yet she carried on. And I can understand why. And hopefully we've shown her that if that's important to her, then there's other ways that she doesn't need to ditch that, thing that's important to her. But if it's all about the finances, then there are other options.
Yeah, I mean, that's been her driving force, and she kind of lost that through the day-to-day running of the business and getting stuck into the detail. And what hopefully we've given her today is taking one step back, looking at the bigger blue sky reasons why she's doing this, giving her options, and actually possibly allowing her to plug in a site in the middle while she gets planning on the other. If she doesn't build the other, she could flip it on and make some money there. But then she's got options now.
Yeah, and certainly that was a really good option.
Got a really cracking opportunity.
It's great.
Yeah. If you'd like to apply for a future episode of the show, check us out at propertymentors.tv. And of course, don't forget to subscribe using the link around this video.
Goodbye for now.
Property Mentors is proudly sponsored by Roma Finance and Aria Finance.